Hello, boys and girls. Here's my latest painting, the Las Vegas Golden Knights hockey team. Um, the basis for the painting is just a Vegas skyline, something very popular out here with a lot of the people coming to visit Vegas. And when I used to work out on Fremont Street doing this live, that was always a favorite painting of people to pick up a Vegas painting because you're here in town visiting Las Vegas. And you'll find a lot of people doing street art in other major cities like New York, and they'll typically do a skyline of the city because, it's just something that appeals to, tourists and people from out of town visiting. They want to take back that memento of, the city they visited. And, few cities have a skyline as unique as Las Vegas. A lot of the hotels and casinos of the Strip are somewhat themed, and just they stand out as like very unique, like the Excalibur, the Luxor, New York with its giant roller coaster ride outside of it. Something I have yet to get around to doing, but it's starting to hit the top of my bucket list here soon. Yeah, so where was I? Yeah, here I am adding in the Bellagio, and using the paint scraper tool I've talked about before. You take a little razor knife, you ding up the edge of it, put some teeth in there, and that allows you to etch in buildings, but you get those lines left behind. Just kind of leaves a little extra paint behind, adds some dimension and texture to it. A little tough is I'm constantly having to wet it up to get back in there and rework it. So one of the things about doing this, obviously outdoors, but in the summertime here in like places like Vegas in the desert, is that it's super dry and really warm out, and just it dries the paint up so fast. But you'll notice toward winter time when it's cooler out, you'll get a lot more working time out of the paint. But then you also want to put your paint on a heat tray and keep it warm, because you do not want to paint with cold paint. It comes out really heavy, like very splotchy, of like a spray. Whereas when it's warmer, you get a finer spray that you can really blend nicely. And so yeah, that's something to think about as we come up into fall and winter time. If you're going to be doing this, is get something like a little heat tray, pretty much something like was it like those flat cooking trays that you'd use to like make, I don't know, a bunch of pancakes or something on, just something like that. You keep it at a low temperature, make sure your paint's nice and warm, and you're all set. But summertime, paint dries fast, so you're constantly having to wet it up. I just use the clear coat that you'd use to finish it off at the end. It's you get a little play time out of it, and all it does is just add a layer of clear in there. So if I got in there the Eiffel Tower of the Paris, that's New York on the end there, and then closer to us here is the Stratosphere, and was it the Link, the high roller, giant Ferris wheel. Also something I've yet to go on. I mean, surprisingly, living here in Vegas all this time, I have yet to make it out to, try a lot of these places. I mean, I haven't been up in the Stratosphere for probably 20 years ago when my family first moved out here. So that's something else, just to get up there, because there's nothing like the view from the Stratosphere of like the skyline. So yeah, here I'm adding in the shield for the logo of the Golden Knights. It's my little tape down for my placement markers. Very, very simple stencil. Keep it weighted down. It's been kind of breezy and stuff lately, and the last thing you want is be painting and have your stencil blow off. And for me, I'm on the second floor, balcony painting, so it blows off and flies out into the yard or into the street or something and gets damaged. Plus, it's just a hassle not to have to go back down there and get it and come back up. So, yeah, plus weighting it down, since I'm just using like kind of heavy duty like drawing paper to make a lot of my stenciling. Yeah, weighting it down helps prevent underspray getting underneath the edges of your stenciling. So you want to really try to work to weigh down all those different areas around the edge of the stencil. Here's sort of like a negative approach to stenciling. I can just put the little cutouts down instead of blasting in a black figure, putting white over it and then doing a black figure on there of like the hockey players. You just put the positives down and just hit the white around them. And instant silhouette. Something I didn't account for, because this is the first run of this painting, was you'll see my tape markers. It'll come up a little bit later on, but the white overspray hitting those markers. When I pull the tape away, you'll see like there's little pretty much clean spots in the shape of the tape left there, where the white wasn't able to kind of just spread out across the sky properly. So yeah, that's something to kind of watch out for. That, yeah, you see the little marks right there. I have to try to go back and sort of hide it, which is doable, but you want to keep things like that in mind. And again, the beauty of this medium is when you kind of mess up like that, you could just go back and make another one and kind of work out the kinks. I mean, this was very much a rough idea, rough concept, and was just my first run of it. Just exploring the rough idea I had in my mind of what I wanted to do with it. But sometimes you nail it, but a lot of times you don't. And you go back and you rework it and figure out a different design that works. I mean, it's a whole lot of trial and error. There's just adding in the water fountains for the Bellagio. Always a big highlight for the painting. Kind of tricky to do as well. I mean, as you can see, I just used a piece of the paper and folded it into, made a little crease and shot in there, sort of like what you do with like a shooting star, but then it's a lot of control to come back over, try to mirror each side of the fountains and stuff. A lot of hand control. I mean, it's something you have to do. Just you got to practice with it, and best to start slowly, because then, I mean, you can go fast, which you eventually learn to do with getting a lot of pressure sensitivity control in your finger when you're spraying, because it's a lot of, I know what we learned to do out there doing it live for people is having to pump it out as quick as possible. So here we are wrapping it up here at the end, and yeah, looks pretty good. I'm happy with it, and I hope you guys enjoyed this little video. If you got any questions or comments, please leave them down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. More videos and stuff coming soon, so stay tuned. Thanks.